Now, the state of coalitions has proven to be problematic in most parts of the country. This is mainly due to a lack of concrete framework to determine how they should operate. And now the Democratic Alliance is proposing legislation to try and stabilize coalition governments. For more on this, we are joined by governance expert Dr Sam Koma. Dr Koma, I appreciate your time this morning. What is your opinion on the proposed legislation to stabilize coalition governments in the country?
Yes, morning, Hugo. Yes, my view is that we need a framework to govern coalition arrangements in the country. Where I part ways with the DA is on the how part of it. Their proposed package in terms of the bill or the legislation that they want to put in place. So one, at the moment, all the coalition agreements that have been entered into by all the various political parties have not been made public. So local communities are unable to hold these political parties accountable because the agreements are not available for public consumption.
Why are they not made available, though? Sorry, I must interject there. Why are they not made available? Are they hiding something?
Yeah, no, they have a sense that we are not being forced by the law to avail these agreements, and also we don't know what is packaged in the agreements. Obviously, one of the crucial elements is the distribution of political positions, but you could see that they don't want to be transparent, and also they don't want to be held accountable by local communities that have put them into power. So that is one limitation we have at the moment. Two, these coalition arrangements, for them to work effectively, they need what we call deadlock breaking mechanisms, just like what we have already in the Municipal Structures Amendment Act. It empowers the council whip to mediate a conflict between a mayor and also the speaker. But we don't have a provision that provides for political parties. In the event there is a political impasse, they have to resort to this deadlock breaking mechanism. So that needs to be fixed. Three, the DA is not talking about the collective executive system, which is the most feasible and ideal governance model that can work in the context of a coalition arrangement, because this ESCO is collectively and directly elected by the municipal council. It is accountable to the municipal council, but it forces all the political parties represented in the municipal council to work together. This system is being perfected in the eThekwini Metro since 2000 to date. So that also has to come into play. And also, lastly, the Constitution, Hugo, already provides that a municipal council has to regulate its business. It has to come up with rules and orders that pertains to how it conducts its business, how it looks at procedures. For example, to what extent should the municipal council look into the issue of the tabling of a motion of no confidence? The when part of it and the how part of it, that is the domain of the municipal council. We don't need a legislation to look into this particular matter. And the other point they are raising is that no, this instability of this coalition arrangements has impeded the provisioning of service delivery and also the issue of the approval of a budget. But already in the Constitution, Section 1395 already provides that in the event a municipal council cannot or does not approve a budget, there are intervention mechanisms where the provincial government will then chip in terms of dissolving such a municipal council. So we don't need a separate piece of legislation to deal with some of these issues.
Now, are there any potential drawbacks or unintended consequences of this framework that the DA is pushing forward?
Yes, in fact, if you look at their provisions, according to me, they are peripheral. They are not dealing with the best way of governing these coalitions. As I said, the legislation already provides that you can have a collective type of municipal government. You can also have a mayoral executive type of government. So we are saying, together with other colleagues, that the mayoral executive system is not a perfect type of governance model to run a coalition. And that is the reason we have this coalition arrangements collapsing in the Gauteng province, in terms of the metros and other places, because you don't need the mayoral executive system to be in place. You need the collective executive system that forces all these political parties represented in council to work together and also to account to the municipal council. But they don't like that system. They prefer the mayoral executive system, and that's the reason we have this political merry-go-round. Today, you have Tanya Campbell voted in as the mayor of Ekurhuleni. The next day, she's voted out. And also in other places. In the city of Tshwane, it has happened. City of Johannesburg, it has happened. So once you have the collective executive system, you will not have this kind of instances where a motion of no confidence is tabled before the municipal council against the sitting mayor.
Dr. Koma, you're absolutely right. We've had several motions of no confidence tabled and causing disastrous consequences on the management of councils. So whose responsibility is it to bring in this collective executive system?
Oh, yeah, it has to be introduced by the MEC for local government in a province through a Section 12 notice. So it's just to amend that particular type of government. In fact, the MEC for local government in Gauteng, Mr. Maile, has tried to introduce the system, but they said they are going to challenge that decision in the High Court. In the Eastern Cape, the MEC for local government over there also has introduced the system, but then the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro, which is led by the DA coalition, have gone to the High Court to challenge the decision. So the matter is still pending. We'll see how the decision finally is made by the High Court, whether to grant the MEC the right to effect the system. So it is the responsibility of the MEC in a specific province.
Now, it would appear from what you're saying that there is a general preference for the mayoral executive system. Are you able to expound on why?
Yes, because it empowers this executive mayor, who has been elected by the municipal council, to exercise discretion in assembling his or her own mayoral committee of 9 or 10 MMCs, as they call them. The executive mayor has the power to dismiss them at will, or has the discretion to exercise that particular power and also to direct the affairs of the committee. So it's just the executive authority that is granted to the executive mayor, as opposed to a collective executive system where you have a mayor who performs ceremonial functions, chairs the meeting of ESCO. Collectively, in that committee, they are all peers. He or she cannot impose decisions on the committee because it's a collective committee of the municipal council, as opposed to the mayoral executive system where the mayor assumes executive authority and also accounts to the municipal council.
Now, Dr. Koma, do you expect resistance from the other political parties around this proposed legislation?
Yeah, of course. I think there are other coalition partners that are already in a marriage with the DA. They will approve the bill, because obviously it will be a private member's bill that will be introduced in the National Assembly. But of course, the EFF and the ANC, I don't see them supporting this proposed bill. But as I said, if you look at the Constitution carefully, it already provides mechanisms that can be employed as part of stabilizing these coalition arrangements, as opposed to having a separate piece of legislation and thus over-legislating the affairs of local government.
Dr. Sam Koma, governance expert, appreciate your time.